Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the world of home tech with me, your host, Paul Hibbert, and welcome to me doing this. Alexa, switch living room main on.
Okay.
I'm doing that using one of these, and wait for it. One of these. This mains light switch is ridiculously cheap and really easy to install. But first, a word about safety. Electricity gives you a nice tingly, slightly hot sensation that then leads to no sensations at all because you're dead. Allow me to demonstrate. That said, of course, replacing your mains light switch is as easy as taking two screws out, making sure your multimeter works so that you're not going to die, switching the electric off so you're definitely not going to die, making sure your multimeter gives you a reading of 0 now that the electricity is off so you're definitely not going to die, and then taking two cables out of your old switch and putting them into your new switch. And then you switch the electricity back on again, and then everything works. It's kind of as simple as that. So where does this little fella fit into all this then? This is a Broadlink RM Pro, and if you've been watching my channel for a while, you're probably going, not this speech again. Yes, I'm afraid it's this speech again, because if you're new to the channel, you won't know what it is. This is a Broadlink RM Pro, and its job is to fire infrared and RF frequencies in place of old-fashioned remote controls like this one. This is an RF remote control which controls a light switch, and all we're going to do is we're going to use this in place of this, simply because this can connect to Alexa. Simple as that. So I'm not going to drag this episode out and give you massive long tutorials about how to install light switches and how to get RF capabilities for this thing, because I've covered all that before. What I will do is I'll link those things in the description. So there is an elongated version of this video that shows me installing a previous RF switch, and that's down there in the description. Down there. Go down there. And then, of course, there is also how to program this thing up to control RF devices, such as this light switch. That video is also down there. It's in the description. So what's good about this light switch? Practically everything. I mean, the price point, obviously, is ridiculous, and I don't actually know exactly what the number is, because I'm not an American. I know that the dollars are a small number. I'm going to put the UK money here, if I've managed to figure out what the UK money is, using magic. There will be magic here to tell you what the price is. This switch does not require a neutral wire. That is a huge deal for almost everybody. So basically, I need to explain a little bit about wiring, very briefly. You have a live wire which carries electricity to the switch, and you have like an L1 out which sends the electricity to the bulb, and the switch just sits in the middle going, I will send electricity, you pressed me. I will not send electricity, you stopped pressing me. That is basically how a switch works. Somewhere along the line, someone invented something called a neutral wire, and no matter how much Googling I do, I can't figure out what the point of it is. If you are good with this stuff, please explain to me in the comments, because I'm gonna lose my mind. It's driving me crazy. It seems to be a magic cable that someone made up to annoy me personally, because without it, most switches won't work for things like RF and smart home stuff, and I kind of seem to be into that sort of thing. So it's a bit annoying for me that almost every switch requires a neutral wire, and practically no home has one. This is one of the only switches I can find that has a separate on and a separate off frequency, at least in RF light switches. This one you can program 1 to be on and 2 to be off. Why is this important? It's super important. If you have a toggle on-off, that you press it comes on, and you press the same button again and it goes off, then the problem is that when you tell Alexa, switch off everything in my house, I want you to switch off everything, if that switch is already off, it's going to switch it on. And when you're in bed and this switch is in your living room, you're just going to leave your lights on all night and you won't know you've even done it. And that'd be really annoying. So having a separate on and a separate off frequency for RF switches is major important, and this one is one of the only ones that has it. So what's wrong with it? There are only 3 things, and one of them is really easily overcome. The first one is that the instructions are not very well translated from Chinese to English. There is something in there that says about flicking the switch, and I'm there thinking, what? Why would I flick it? How is that going to help anything? So I didn't flick it. I thought flicking the switch must mean turn it on or turn it off. So I was flicking the switch on and off. What it meant was, don't do anything. What it really means when it says flick is that the light on the switch is going to be flickering on and off. They meant flicker, not flick. I have included some more Englishy style translation in the description for this video, so if you've bought this switch and you're struggling with the instructions, they're down there. The back box on this thing is quite thick. It is RoHS certified, so I'm not concerned about the safety of this thing. It is a solidly built unit, I am pleased with its design, but the thickness of it as a consequence is that it sticks right into your wall. If you don't have quite a thick cavity, you won't be able to get this thing in your wall in the first place. There are two options. You can either chisel your wall, like I have had to do in the past when I've been installing something that is bigger than my existing back box, or you can buy one of these things. Let me do that thing again. Yes, this thing. This is like an adapter type thing which will make your switch stand proud of the wall, but will be in a sealed unit, so it is perfectly safe, but it's whether or not you consider it to be then unsightly. I have a friend that has installed one of these things and it looks fine. I quite like it. Finally, it isn't intelligent, it is a big dummy. Basically, this switch is not a smart switch, it's just an RF switch that responds to RF frequencies from its remote, or in our case, from the Broadlink RM Pro. That is great, but it means that Alexa can't have things like set the light to 40% or set the light to 70%. The dimming functionality, you're either going to have to reach for the remote, or there are some workarounds so you can either send it up or send it down, but there is nothing to be able to say, set the light to 40%. If that bothers you, you're going to need something far more expensive, probably needing a neutral wire, and not as easy to install, and about a billion other things that are awkward about doing that. This is by far the easiest way to do this, but it has that one limitation that Alexa doesn't have full control over it. She'll be able to switch it on, she'll be able to switch it off, and with a little bit of faffing around, you can get her to dim it up or dim it down. That's it. So that's it for this week. I didn't want to do a long, drawn-out instructional video on how to get this to control RF, because I've covered that before, and I didn't want to give you a massive, long video on how to install the light switch, because I've also covered that before. There are links in the description to both of those videos if you want to go and see that in more detail, and if you've bought the switch, that video will definitely come in handy to get this thing linked to the switch, so that Alexa can control this, and in turn, control your mains light switch. There is one last thing I'll say before I go. Just to reiterate, I'm not an electrician. I don't know anything about electricity. What I do know is what my dad has taught me, who is a qualified electrician. He's actually a plumber, but he has the qualifications and he knows what he's talking about, and I've followed to the letter the advice he has given me. I was attacked in my previous video on this subject by someone saying, it's not Part P certified. Your insurance company won't give a shit when your house burns down. That is nonsense, and I'm annoyed with him because I had to go and look it up to find out for definite that it was nonsense, and he wasted about an hour of my life. So I'd like to finish this video by saying, screw you dude, for wasting an hour of my life. You don't need to be Part P certified to install a light switch. You don't need to be Part P certified to install a light. I want to screw a light in my roof, I don't need a bloody certification, and it's the same to install a light switch. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see some more of this guy, hit that subscribe button. And you know what? Most of my funding comes from you guys, so if you want to help keep me doing this, there are links in the description to do that too. I'll see you next time. I'm doing that using... this thing is an RF light switch. It is, poop. And if it was plugged into electricity, I would be annoying myself. Shh, that's not real. So what's good about this? The main problem with it what? The back box is quite fat. It's quite a thick back box. I have noticed you need to be P-Part certified or Part P certified. I don't even know what these things are. I don't give a shh. Try this again.